All right, hi everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever it is you're joining us from. I can see quite a number of people have started joining in. Thank you all for joining the Women Textiles Open Day. It's the IWD Specialized Women Textiles Open Day, and we're thrilled and glad to have everyone here. Kindly use the webinar chat to interact. Please let us know where you're joining us from, your name, your country, and we would also like to hear from you as regards signing up for the International Women's Day Specialized Open Day for March 2024. What are some of the expectations you have? What are some of the things that were going through your mind when you decided to sign up for this webinar? So thank you all once again, and I would just like to welcome everyone. We already have all of our panelists on the call. We already have all of our guest speakers ready to listen and to gain from everything that we're going to be saying today. So if you're joining us wherever you're joining us from Nigeria, from outside of Nigeria, from Kenya, Zimbabwe, please just let us know your name, where you're joining us from, and what are some of the expectations that you have towards the session. Also, if you know someone that probably registered for the session and they are yet to join the session now, you could just quickly send them a message to inform them that the open day has started. I can see Elizabeth Aino saying hello, everyone. Hi, Elizabeth. Kindly let us know where you're joining us from and what's kind of let us know where you're joining us from and what expectations you have for this session. Once again, I would like to welcome everyone to the Women's Sectors Open Day. It is a specialized open day in commemoration of the International Women's Month. Yes, we had International Women's Day earlier this month, which was celebrated on the March 8th. And in the spirit of still celebrating the International Women's Month, we'll just be saying Happy International Women's Day to everyone. I think it's still valid. So I can see Karista Okoro saying hi everyone joining from Nigeria. Hi Karista, nice to meet you. I can see Blessing also saying hello everyone, happy to be here, happy to have you all here. Please would just like to know where you're joining us from, what expectations you have towards this session, what are some of the things that you would like to learn in today's session. We have all of our guest speakers ready on the call, ready to listen to each and every person here. Yes, I can see Blessing saying you're joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Amazing. Please would just like to know what are some of the things that you would want to learn in this session? What are some of the things that you would like to take home from the speakers in this session? I can see I think I saw someone from Zimbabwe, Cynthia from Zimbabwe. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Zimbabwe today. Awesome. I can see Ashabi from Lagos also. I can see Ayola from Akure. Nice, nice. I can see Gloria joining from Ghana. Hi, Gloria. How is Ghana doing today? I can see Ikaria. I hope I pronounced your name right. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Ikaria actually has an AI assistant taking notes for this session. Amazing, amazing. I can also see, I can't really see your name, pardon me, but you're joining from Kaduna, Nigeria. I hope Kaduna is going well today. I can see Sami from Abuja. Would like to hear from everyone joining the session. What are some of the things that what are some of the expectations that you have towards this session? And what are some of the things that you'd like to take home leaving this session? So yes, I would just, while that is ongoing, I'll just quickly run through the Women Textiles initiative as a whole. So welcome everyone once again. This is the Women Textiles Open Day. It is a specialized edition of the Women Textiles Open Day in commemoration of the International Women's Day. And we would like to welcome everyone that joined us. Again, if you know someone who registered and yet to be here, kindly shoot them a message. We've sent mail to everyone. Just kindly shoot them a message just so that they know that the session has started. So the Women Textiles Initiative is an initiative of technology for development and social change for Tech for Dev. And under the Women Textiles Initiative, we have 5 sub-programs. We have the Women Textiles Open Day, which is where we are on. We also have the Tech Girls Drive, which are both advocacy components of the Women Textiles Initiative. And they are driven to ensure that we increase the participation of young girls and women in Africa in STEM. So we have the aim to bridge the STEM gap between male and female, and we do that through our 5 sub-programs under the Women Techsters Initiative. The Tech Girls Drive, coincidentally, we actually have a Tech Girls Drive that's been running for the whole month of March, where we visit young girls in secondary schools, teaching them about career opportunities available for them in STEM. And of course, we have the open day here, where we have seasoned guest speakers from across Africa, women in tech who have been able to build a successful career in technology that come on the call and tell you about the things that they have actually, how they're able to chart their careers in tech. So it's usually an amazing time for you to meet, prospective role models and other women who have been able to successfully build careers in tech. It's a wonderful time to get to know how to start your own tech career. And also, if you have any questions, it's an amazing time to do that. Then, of course, we have the Main Techsters Bootcamp, which is a short 3 weeks training whereby you can get to learn from 5 different learning tracks: cybersecurity, product design, product management, data analysis, and software development. And each of this, and the good thing about the bootcamp is you can actually learn, you can decide to come back again. If I know that there are some people on the call that might have gone through some of our bootcamps, if you have, you can just, say hi to that. So with the bootcamp, you can get to learn about whichever learning track it is that you'd like to begin your career in. And we've had records of persons, or people rather, who have actually gotten jobs just from the bootcamp. And then we have the Women Techsters Fellowship, which is an intense training, which is an intensive fellowship divided into 6 months of intense training and then 6 months of job placement. And we've had fellows in our fellowship since last year, and it has been an amazing time. I know that there are also some people here who would love to apply for one of our fellowship one of these days. Well, the good thing about that is that you can always get more information about that. Want to follow us on our social media. I can see Elizabeth, and I just graduated from bootcamp. Product management was an amazing experience. Love that. Yes. So after the fellowship, we have the Women Techsters Masterclass, which is for a more advanced audience, right? We have the Women Techsters Masterclass, which is for women in tech that have been between 6 months to at least 5 years. And then we have a deep dive. They have the 2-day training whereby we go to a deep, they go into deep dive on a particular topic in a particular lecture. For instance, last year we had masterclass in blockchain, we had masterclasses in cybersecurity, and also in data analysis. So yes, we'll be sharing more information about our ongoing programs as well as things that you can register for towards the end of the program. So you will want to stay till the end of the session to be able to get the best information and the best use of the opportunities that we have available right here at Tech for Dev. Thank you all once again for joining. I will quickly hand over the baton to our amazing executive director, who I can see on the call. Yes, she'll just give in a welcome address very quickly in the person of Oladura Oladipo. Hi, Dura. Good. I know it's still morning where you are. So good morning. How are you doing today? Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, and I hope that you can see me.
Yes,
Okay.
I can see you.
Okay, super. Hi, everyone. Good. It's morning here. It's 11 a.m. Good afternoon for almost everyone who is in other parts of Africa. It's so great to be here today. I see on the comment section. Sorry, I joined a few minutes late. I was just in the background. I was just saying, I don't know if we've had opportunity to meet the people who are here today, or have we?
Yes. We did that quickly just before you joined in.
Okay, super. Because I can see. So again, right? For anybody who's just joined, like in the last few minutes, you can drop your name and where you're from, like in the comment section. I can already see like people I see someone from Lagos, someone from Harare in Zimbabwe, and someone from Ogun State, Joy from Ogun, Toby from Lagos, Tatenda from Harare, Zimbabwe. Please, you can just drop your names, drop where you are from. It's just nice. Ronika from South Africa, it's super great to have you here. Abiba from Lagos, Gloria from Abuja, Mary Blessing from Lagos, just so many amazing people from across, and amazing women from across Africa. It's nice to have everyone here today. Sylvie from Rwanda, I see you. Miracle from Port Harcourt. Thank you guys so much for making out time to be here today as you kickstart your journeys as women in tech. So once again, I'd like to say a very huge welcome to everyone. And I want to thank you for joining the International Women's Day specialized edition of our virtual Women Techsters Open Day program for the month of March 2024. Today, I'm super delighted because this Open Day falls on like the Women's History Month, our own special month as women, right? For me, it feels like it's like a birthday or like a special celebration. And then we have an entire month to do it. So think about the fact that your birthday is every month and it's every day in an entire month of like, it's March 30 or 31 days, right? And you get to feel that way. It's a month that I am super pumped about, super excited about, because it just fully underscores like the significance of the work we do at Tech for Dev with our Women Techsters program. And I'm excited and happy to be here. And trust me, in this very special month, I'm just elated to have all of you who are here, women from across Africa, different countries, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, from wherever part of Africa you are here today, to join us to learn about pursuing your interest in technology. I would especially like to welcome you guys, and I do this all the time. I like to welcome you as prospective women techsters, because I know that you've joined us here today to learn about how to start your career in tech through the Open Day program. But in my usual style, I always like to run through like recent highlights of either our Women Techsters program and Tech for Dev, just to give you some context around the magical work that we do at Tech for Dev. So in January 2024, Tech for Dev launched the second edition of Africa's largest digital skilling challenge called the Digital for All Challenge. This competition is designed to reward self-development and encourage the acquisition of digital skills and the use of digital skills through competitive incentives. So really the way the Digital for All Challenge works is that you register to learn for free, and then you get to enter into a competition where at the end of the competition, you get to win a prize. The interesting thing is that this is the second edition we're holding. The first edition that we held, this was in 2022. We actually had two winners, one for the basic digital skills category and one for the intermediate digital skills category. For the basic digital skills category, the person who actually won was a civil servant from Kaduna State in Nigeria, right? He won ₦1 million. And then we had a 200 level undergraduate student from University of Lagos win the intermediate digital skills category. And I think she won ₦2.5 million. So this definitely is an opportunity for you all who are on the call as well to join the challenge. The challenge is ongoing. It's going to be running for the next 4 months, I believe. It's an opportunity for you to join the challenge, tell your friends, tell your family members, tell your sisters, brothers, cousins, to join the challenge. I mean, this year, it's a bigger dream. Our target is to reach 1 million Nigerians, and we are giving this 1 million Nigerians an opportunity to compete to win a share of 150 million naira. And other consolation prizes involved. So the learning phase, like I said, started, no, I didn't talk about that, but the learning phase started in February 6th. It's open to secondary school students, youth, civil servants, young learners as well across Nigeria. If you do need more information on this, you can follow us on social media. I know we post literally every day about giving updates about how, you can be a part of the challenge. Also last month, we admitted 2,474 beneficiaries into our Women Techsters Bootcamp Cohort 3.3. And after 3 weeks of intensive training and demo presentations and projects, we're proud to announce that on the 2nd of April, 2024, which is like next week, we will be graduating 1,120 women from data analysis, cybersecurity, product management, product design, and software engineering learning tracks. Well, we're releasing them to the world, right? To become trailblazers in technology. This amazing opportunity was further extended to other women in form of bootcamp, or has been further extended to other women in form of bootcamp 3.4. And we received 5,105 applications from women across 22 African countries. Yay! Screening is currently ongoing, and the applicants will receive an update on their application status very soon. However, to talk a bit more about another program that matters a lot to us within the context of Women Techsters is our Women Techsters Fellowship. And since the inception of Women Techsters Fellowship, we have recorded a lot of success stories of women. These women are mothers, they are daughters, they are students, they are workers, right, who have defied all odds and paved the way for themselves in this ever-evolving technology space. And so last April, which is like about a year ago, we opened the call for applications for the 2024 Women Techsters Fellowship. And we recorded a reach of over 122,000 women across Africa. And after reviewing, we reviewed about 7,800 plus valid applications. We successfully admitted 2,014 women into the fellowship program. Furthermore, this particular year, which is our year sort of runs like between 2 fiscal years, so between 2023 and 2024, right? What we did as well was that we launched this program in 7 new African countries, in addition to the already 15 countries of operations that we had, making a total of 22 African countries that we're in. And these countries are Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Egypt, DR Congo, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Madagascar, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Algeria, South Sudan, Morocco, Angola, Mozambique, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Rwanda, Gambia, and Botswana. And our fellows are currently rounding off their 4th month of training. And throughout the month of March, like Ora said earlier, they've been engaging in their community advocacy project, which is a Tech Girls Drive, where they're going to visit, or they've been visiting actually, secondary schools and communities across Africa to speak to young girls about taking up careers in STEM in commemoration of the wonderful International Women's Month. They are currently preparing for their capstone projects with, well, some of them already, quite a number of them actually, already have gotten jobs before the end of their program. And these are the things that bring us joy. So you can now understand when I tell you that, this particular month just underscores who we are as an organization from a Women Techsters perspective, and just the joy of what it is that we're trying to achieve as an organization with gender equality and equity in the technology space. So definitely I would not continue this without talking a bit about Women Techsters and what Women Techsters is and who Tech for Dev is as an organization. Tech for Dev is a nonprofit organization that creates access to decent work and entrepreneurship opportunities and platforms for Africans. And we do this through digital skills and technology skills empowerment and advocacy. Our vision is to equip Africans with digital and life skills that foster economic prosperity, financial freedom, and sustainable development. And the Women Techsters program is made possible through our organization, which is Tech for Dev. Women Techsters is an initiative of Tech for Dev that aims to bridge the digital divide between men and women in the technology ecosystem. Through our pilot program, Nigerian Women Techsters, we enabled almost 3,000 women between the ages of 16 to 40 over a 3-year period across Nigeria to ignite their interest in pursuing careers and businesses in technology. Driven by the success stories of numerous women across the Nigerian Women Techsters program, women like Fatima, women like Tommy, women like Patience, amongst others, we carved a new ambition and a dream to replicate this model across Africa, providing more women access to opportunities to launch careers and businesses in technology. Our grand dream is that by 2030, we would have reached 5 million women across Africa, empowering them with the knowledge and skills to partake in the technology industry in Africa and the world at large. We believe that empowering change for women across Africa, and as well as providing them opportunities to access employment and entrepreneurship, will help us achieve a 50-50 male to female ratio balance in the technology space. The reason why we're here, of course, the Women Techsters Program Open Day is a monthly virtual program that we've organized for women across Africa, women just like you, to learn about leveraging the power of technology to start and advance your careers and also create technology and technology-enabled businesses. The Open Day program is an opportunity for women like you to interact with other successful women who you can already see on the call. I'm super pumped and excited for today, who have built their own careers or businesses in technology over the years and will share their personal experiences. They will speak about possible career paths and business opportunities, and they will help you appreciate the importance of acquiring digital and deep tech skills in this digital age. I definitely will not end without numerous appreciations. I love to do this all the time. I would like to appreciate every one of you, right, for being here today. I mean, you're the stars of the show, right? Really excited to have you here, to commence your journeys to becoming women in tech. And I would definitely also love to say a very special thank you to our guest speakers. These women, trust me, they are super busy and they've made time out of their extremely busy schedules to be here today. So a special thank you to you, Shanti. A special thank you to you, Zainab. A special thank you to you, Lola. And a special thank you to our moderator as well, Philomena, for taking time out of your extremely busy schedules, right, to share your stories of like your journey as women in tech. I'm excited. I'm going to be in the background, just, listening in. Hopefully, I know I may have to drop off some points because, but I'm super excited about the conversation we're about to have here today. Thank you very much. And as we wrap up the Women History Month, I would like to say to every one of you today, congratulations on being a woman. Like, that is a superpower that you have. And we're definitely here to help you channel that superpower into your careers, into your businesses, and to help you to become economically prosperous. So thank you, and right over back to you, Ore.
Thank you so very much, Dora. It's always an amazing time hearing from you. Thank you all. And just to highlight some of the things that Dora just mentioned, I would be playing a video right now for us, and then we can just see. So yes, should be playing now.
There's an African proverb that says that when you train a woman, you train a nation. When you train a woman has the ability to provide some sort of like 3x on ROI or whatever training it is that you give to a woman. If the training is meant to provide some sort of financial freedom, for example, for the woman, which is the case of the women Techsters, we believe that women are able to then provide for their families, which then immediately also allows for the families' income generation to impact that of their immediate community or impact that of the nation. The problem we're trying to solve when we initiated the Women Techsters program is being able to bring women to partake within the opportunities that exist within the technology ecosystem and actually finding a balance, which is having more women join the ecosystem to be able to both partake of the opportunities and also be able to contribute to the industry.
By 2030, we want 5 million women to be empowered with technical skills and use their skills to either start up their tech-enabled businesses, further their career in the tech space, or establish their own tech startups and tech-enabled businesses.
Microsoft has been an amazing and fantastic partner. Just beyond supporting us with funds, has actually gone into supporting us, like giving us technical support, like donating Azure to us, donating licenses to us, and supporting us with other forms of software and hardware to ensure that we're able to deliver effectively on whatever program it is we're partnering on.
Today is the Meet and Greet event that is holding in Lagos State. The Meet and Greet event is organized for our Women Techsters program beneficiaries to be able to have a physical connect. Because of the COVID-19, we're not able to have a physical meet-up. So most of our training has been carried out virtually, and we have women connecting online.
Community building is very important to the Women Techsters initiative. It's a community that allows women to grow, women who haven't ever been in the tech space, to grow, encourage themselves, and just keep on pushing themselves to succeed.
If I were to describe my experience in the Women Techsters program,
awesome. I would say it was phenomenal.
For me, it's inspiring.
Mind-blowing.
My experience at the Meet and Greet has been so beautiful. It was so nice to say, Amaka, you are Favor, you are Asat.
So it's been really awesome how that those you related with virtually, you're now able to put a face to the name. I've tried many things. I've tried to go for other classes, and it just didn't work out. It looked impossible. At a point, I just felt maybe this is not for me. Tech for Development Techsters, Microsoft gave me the opportunity to see that it is for me, and it's a big thank you from this end.
I'm so grateful that there's a platform like this that other women can join and scale up in tech.
We're doing so much to see that women become better versions of themselves and go out there and explore tech.
I thank Microsoft for their open hands, for believing so much in a girl child. I think the best way to appreciate these two wonderful organizations is by not stopping here.
To any young woman out there who is trying to get into the tech space, I would say, believe in yourself. You can actually do it. Tech is not as difficult as people think it is. There are tons of career paths within technology that even have nothing to do with you writing a line of code. I mean, for example, there's product design, there's product management, there's data analysis, and amongst others. So I would say to every woman, believe in yourself. Whatever you think you can achieve, you can do it.
All right, I'm pretty sure that we were able to see that. I can see someone already saying very inspirational. I would like to know how that made us feel. So you could just use the webinar chat to interact with us so that you could just let me know. You saw the video that we just played, what's going through your mind when you watched it, how that made you feel. And I would quickly move on for us to meet all our guest speakers on the call. I mean, this is the meat of the session. So while you're just putting in your words about the video we just watched, I will quickly pull up their bios right now. And I'll quickly pull up their bios right now and read it for us right now. So just give me a minute to do that. Okay, yes. All right, I can see some comments I would quickly like to read. Rahim says that she feels like she wants to start right now. Awesome, awesome. I can see Elizabeth saying, I feel more encouraged about my transition to tech. I can see Chidima saying, I'm so happy to be here. Awesome. We are really happy that you are here as well. Elizabeth is saying, this is awesome. I can't wait to start now. Awesome. Okay, so quickly, let's meet all of our speakers. I would start with Shanti. So Shanti is a seasoned technology professional who has held impactful leadership roles at Amazon and Microsoft, driving product expansion and large-scale product delivery across flagship products, including Microsoft Windows Server, Amazon Prime Video, and Fulfillment by Amazon. She was also a co-founder of a startup spearheading safe video experiences for children. Shanti is currently an investor in female-founded startups, a product coach, and a strategic consultant. Shanti actively supports women in tech through various initiatives. She serves on the board of Advancing Women in Tech, mentors women, and speaks at events focused on empowering women entrepreneurs. This includes engagements such as the AWS Impact Accelerator for Female Founders and keynoting at the Indo-Pacific Academy of Women Entrepreneurs Summit in Taiwan. Her commitment to mentorship and diversity underscores her belief in fostering an inclusive tech industry. Hi, Shanti. Okay. Hi, Shanti. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you for inviting me. I'm honored to be here.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I will quickly move on to our next guest on the call, which is Zainab. Zainab brings a unique blend of strategic thinking and operational expertise to her role as chief of staff at Omni Retail. As a former product management leader with a proven track record of developing and launching several industry-leading products, Zainab possesses a deep understanding of the product development lifecycle and the challenges faced by cross-functional teams. Leveraging her strong interpersonal skills, Zainab excels at streamlining processes, managing complex projects, and anticipating the needs of stakeholders. She is passionate about fostering collaboration and driving impactful change that propels the company forward. Hi, Zainab. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm not
Okay,
going to
great.
answer that one.
Okay, great to have you here.
Thanks for having
All
me.
right, yes. And to our third speaker, Lola. Lola Selepli is a product design and growth expert with experience leading teams, scaling products from 0 to 1, and delivering with high craft and impact. She applies innovative strategies to support ambitious brands in building lovable products used by millions of people across the world. Her expertise has extended across many industries while working for companies like Paystack, Flip Social, Smarter, and Base Capital. She is also an experienced educator and public speaker, dedicated to inspiring people through her talks at Techsters, Google, Design Plus, Diversity, and more. Hi, Lola. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hey everyone. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Excited to
Okay.
be here and to, share my journey with you all today.
Awesome. Thanks so very much for being here as well. And to our wonderful moderator, Philomena. Philomena excels in building thriving tech and data communities, fostering meaningful collaboration, and nurturing emerging talent in the data. With a strong commitment to promoting diversity and inclusion in tech, she leads the Women in Data Nairobi initiative and actively engages with women in data science and Google Women Techmakers. Through these platforms, Philomena advocates for increased representation and opportunities for women in technology. Passionate about data science, Philomena also contributes as a technical writer on Medium, where she shares valuable insights and tutorials. Her articles aim to educate and inspire others in the field and can be found on Medium. Moreover, Philomena is committed to leveraging technology for social good. She participates in various initiatives such as the World Summit Award, Rotary, and Rotaract, demonstrating a firm belief in the importance of giving back to the community. Through these efforts, Philomena continues to make a significant impact in the tech world and beyond. Hi, Philomena. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. All right, so we've come to the meat of the session. I will just pass the baton over to you, Philomena, for the fireside chat, and I'll be here taking notes and just in the background. Over to you, Philomena.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for having me and the rest of the speakers that we have here. So first, I would like to ask you all, in case you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat so that we can be able to go through them at the end of the session. But for now, we can just go through some of the questions that we have for the panelists. So I hope you're all excited, dear panelists. I'll start with Shanti.
Hi, Philomena. Sorry, I'm super sorry to cut in. I think we should put the questions in the Q&A. Apologies for not mentioning that earlier, just so the questions don't get forgotten with other people's chat. If you have questions, there's a Q&A segment that will just put that in. Apologies for not mentioning that earlier. Back to you, Philomena.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that. So I'll start with Shanti. You've had amazing experience, just as we've heard. You've been in the industry for quite some time. So I would first like to ask, you started out in tech at a time when not so many women were in tech. So what inspired you to choose a career in tech, and how did you manage to land your first job?
Hi, thank you for the question. And honestly, whenever I talk about when I started, I always feel so old because I was in tech at a time when there weren't a lot of people in tech. And I actually started studied physics and engineering as my degree. And after I did my master's, I always thought I was going to do work in engineering, and my master's was actually a computer application. So I kind of got hooked into programming and software. And I stumbled into software because I had gone for an on-campus interview with HP. And it just happened that there was a Microsoft interviewer there as well. And so then I ended up talking to her and ended up going to Microsoft. And Yeah, so that was a crazy time. I didn't expect to be, in software. And I have to say, it's been very rewarding. I went in at a time when there were not a lot of people. I worked on Windows, and there were literally 40 people on my team in our larger organization, of which I was the one woman. So it's a different world now, which is I'm very excited about. But back then it was not very common. Over time, we did get some other women into the team, but yeah, it was interesting.
Oh wow, amazing. I can only imagine how that was. Imagine going for one interview and then getting a job at Microsoft. Talk about destiny.
Yeah.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing that. So I'll go to Lola. Growing up as a girl in Nigeria, did you ever think that you would have a career in tech? And did you have any female role model that you looked up to? And what role did she play in your career success? That could be like a mentor, or if you just had a role model, and what role did it play in your career?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for asking me that. I'd say like for me, I mean, when I had started out my career, or before I did anyway, just like everyone else, I had this stereotype that you would need a degree in computer science to actually get into tech. Even just the fact that most of the people I was seeing as prominent figures then were mostly like men, and this basically made me feel like tech might not be an you know a viable career path for me at the time. But it wasn't until back in uni when I was actually studying for my real estate degree. I had a friend, Jemima, who's a developer, and she essentially like introduced me to the world of tech while she was like practicing for a talk that she was supposed to give. So I was like, pretty much acting as the audience during that talk. And then during that time, I got to like learn a lot about, the fundamentals of HTML and stuff like that. And I was like, this actually seems quite interesting. And coming from my friend, that's a woman, it sort of made me realize that there was actually space in tech for me. And that's why I feel like representation is so important, actually, because just getting to interact with women like my friend Jemima, or other women that have come along my journey, like Iriaderi Nuku or Ladeta Work, and watching them be like badass at what it is they do, reinforced to me that I could start out and do this too. So after initially like learning about like the fundamentals of tech, I started to like learn. Actually, I started out as a front end engineer, so I did that for like 2 years, taking professional courses and whatnot, and then I decided to pivot into design after a while. But I'd say like it was first of all like becoming aware of the possibilities, and then joining communities, connecting with people, men and women alike, and pretty much like seeking out support and continuous reinforcement while I was on my journey that got me to where I am today. So yeah, I definitely say that I have had some prominent role models in this time. And yeah, to answer the question, I say like just a lot of like the journey of like going from front-end engineering to design, and now like fully meeting wouldn't have been possible without the representation that was initially thrown to me. So yeah, just reinforcing the importance of representation in tech, really.
Amazing. Yeah, representation definitely does matter. And also what you said, having a role model, seeing that it's possible. It's always great that you're here to even share with other ladies so that they can know it's also possible for them. Yeah, so thanks for that. So I'll move on to Zainab. Can you tell us about the work you do at OmniBiz Africa, and how you got into product management roles? Did you have women in leadership positions who contributed to your career success?
So the work that we do at OmniBiz, and then I'll say that first before I talk about the work that I do, is we're trying to enable people in traditional trade be able to compete on the same scale with the people who are in modern trades. And when we first of all started 5 years ago, we just wanted to help them optimize their business processes. But then as we learned their behaviors, saw how they were making transactions, we were able to build products, software products to enable them do their businesses better. And so when I started with OmniBiz or Omni Retail 3 years ago, I started in product management. And what I was tasked to do was to ensure that the retailer at the last mile, what that means is people will sell or will resell in our neighborhoods, will resell in like smaller quantities. So say I want to buy water, I just run out of like the usual stock of water that I have, and I just want to buy maybe 1 to like 6 bottles. Those people would do that kind of reselling. I was tasked to build convenience into their e-commerce application. And so that was the first thing I did. But now what I do as chief of staff is basically 3 things. I'm helping my founder amplify his voice within the company and outside of the company, just for everyone to understand clearly what our vision is. This is what we're building. This is how we intend to build it. And this is where we're going to. That's the first thing. Second is to also ensure that all our complex projects or things that we're doing operationally are very efficient. And the third thing is ensuring that, again, because I'm coming from the product side, I've done that for 3 years, help us own our customers in a very effective manner. So getting feedback from them or just ensuring that their stay with us is as smooth as possible. And then the second question was what I'm doing and if I had like anyone in leadership enable my success. So when I started out in product management, someone I visibly saw super clearly she's currently handling partnerships at Paystack, was Khadija Abu. And I reached out to her then and said, hey, I know that you are doing this excellently in products, and then you're also doing some non-profit stuff on the side. I want to volunteer so that I can learn with you, learn from you, and learn with you on the journey. So that was one person I really learned from early on. Then secondly, before I became a product manager, I worked in e-commerce as well, and I worked in technology operations. Technology operations support just means that when people cannot print, they call you. When their laptop is not coming on, they call you. When there's something wrong, they cannot use Chrome. And we all work in a tech company. They call you to ask you why their Chrome browser is not refreshing. But it was my job at the time and I liked it. And there was this director of marketing, Mayowa, who would always ask for me when she calls into the department. She would say she wants to speak to the lady engineer. And I'll gladly go and try to resolve. And so I was very happy doing it, knowing that somebody wanted me to be there when she had a problem. And so those were like 2 people. But then there's this other woman who owns I don't know what internet company in Nigeria is. She owns Main One, Funke Opeke. And when I look at her and what she's done, I know that I can do it. I have never met her. I've not even reached out to her for anything, but I just keep going to her profile like every month to say, I'll do it. And so those were like the things that sort of spurred me and encouraged me on the journey. And over time, I've also tried to pay it forward to other people because again, we are in the minority. So I just try to encourage other people so that there are a lot more of us in leadership or in whatever careers we want to do in technology.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, just to encourage anybody out there, it's always good to share what you're doing. You never know who you're going to encourage. You can hear her story. She just goes and looks at someone's account and she gets inspiration from that. So just being able to show other people that it's possible. Don't let imposter syndrome prevent you from sharing what you're doing because you never know who's watching and you never know who may need just that encouragement. So thanks a lot for that. Yeah, so just as a disclaimer, I don't have power, so it's just gonna get darker and darker on my end because it's getting late and we don't have any power here. So, but at least my laptop has some charge. So I'll go to Lola. So how did you deal with failure and rejection over the course of your career? What are some helpful resources or technical skills that were instrumental in your product design journey?
Okay, good question. I guess I'd say for me, failure in this context could mean basically times where I struggled with my confidence or questioned myself as a designer, or actually a specific time I can remember is missing out on an opportunity because I pretty much like wasn't confident enough, more or less. And this particular situation was in relation to work. So as a junior designer, when I had started out, I was more or less like an executor, churning out designs whenever anyone at work asked me to. And I wasn't really confident in some of the reasons behind the work I was putting out or certain decisions which I was making, which obviously points to the fact that I had a lot of learning to do. But, when I finally decided to level up as a senior, gunning for a promotion, I knew that I had to like build up my confidence and putting work to more or less move beyond where I was at to where I needed to be. So I obviously like had to set out. I decided to set out a roadmap. Getting comfortable with talking about learning about business strategy, understanding how my company makes money. Um, Getting dirt under my fingernails from really like digging through data, basically becoming very analytical, and also pretty much like learning how to build relationships as well with like people in my organization so that they could come to see the value that I could offer them on a day-to-day basis. And the more I did things like that, I realized that I was able to start developing a stronger foothold on, talking more during meetings. That's something that you might struggle with, especially when you're a woman and your team is predominantly male, and stuff like that. You don't want to like sound stupid, but I found that the more I did those things, like really like thinking about how my teammates think about things, and what success looks like for them, it helps me come to like start asking the right questions in meetings. It helps me come to like start challenging the assumptions of other people as well. And it also helped me like, because I had started to like place an emphasis on building relationships with my teammates as well. It meant that I got more confident even like saying no to like some of the requests that they made, because I now had enough context to start contributing insights to guide the direction of some of the decisions that we were making. But essentially, like all of this is to say that typically when you start out as a woman in a field that is like predominantly like male dominated like this, chances are that you might have some level of self-doubt or imposter syndrome to do it on a daily basis, especially when there isn't necessarily anyone that looks like you on your team. But I would more or less like encourage us to like try to like push beyond that initial barrier of self-doubt. Basically, like what helped me was just taking a step back, identifying the gap between like where I am and where I need to be, and then instead of allowing imposter syndrome to like suffocate me, or more or less I embraced a growth mindset, and more or less like decided that okay, I can make intentional efforts to get where I need to be, and I don't need to feel like just because I don't know it right now, it means that ultimately I'm not competent, and that's that. You get what I'm saying? So essentially I'd say that basically embracing a growth mindset, building relationships, and also reaching out to people whenever you need support would go a long way in helping you like get over failure and rejection, if possible. And I also want to add that I think that one thing that is very important, or that has helped me as well, is just like really challenging the notion that women can't learn anything and be the best at it. Because I definitely believe that anyone, irrespective of gender or, irrespective of where you are in life, you can excel at whatever it is you do when you decide to put in the work. And ideally, you should be able to set a goal for yourself and be very steadfast at reaching that goal. And you shouldn't like things as silly as like stereotypes, gender bias, or or whatever notions it is that you might have in your head, like stopping you from achieving your goals, really. So yeah, I just like let me not hog up too much of the spotlight, but yes, that was just my personal experience, and then some of the notions I put in place to help me scale through it out.
Thanks a lot. So what I gathered from that is you need to be very intentional about your journey. I know it's easier said than done, and a lot of people do say this, that when you're getting in, don't self-reject, you need to be vocal, but honestly, like through experience, those are the things that you need to do. You will have to go through that journey. You'll have to be very comfortable with feeling stupid, in the room and asking the questions, because only through experience is when you would be able to learn. And if you don't ask, you will never learn. And also do not self-reject and surround yourself with amazing people. So thanks, Lola. Yeah. So I'll move over to Shanti. So how did you deal with setbacks and challenges faced in your tech journey? Have you encountered any form of discrimination as a woman in tech? And how did you deal with it?
Wow. So first of all, I completely agree with some of the statements around imposter syndrome. I think a lot of women suffer from it. And I think it's great you have to keep pushing on. So setbacks, challenges, I started, as I said, in a team. There was a lot of, I was used to being one, I think it was 10% of the women in our graduating class, even engineering, were women. So I was used to being a minority, but being in a group with 40 people, with other people being men. And then I think the biggest shock for me was when I went on maternity leave. I was lucky that I was at Microsoft, which had really good maternity leave, and you were guaranteed your role when you came back. But I was shocked at some of my performance reviews after I came back, because it was clearly I was being penalized for having been gone, even though I was doing very well before that and had added a lot of value. So, that was like a big thing for me. Till then, I was just like, hey, just power on ahead and you will get through. And that was a big deal for me. So I would say that was my first experience with specifically being discriminated against as a woman. If you get great performance ratings and you're doing really well, and then suddenly you come back and suddenly you've gone down, like, how did this happen? I did the same work, right? So, but that was one example I can think of. Over time, I think, there was, I would say at Microsoft, like, we definitely had more women showing up, which was great, because unlike some folks like Zainab looking at somebody who is a leader in the industry, we had very few role models of women in leadership roles to look for and look at and look up to. And so it was hard to know what was okay and what was not okay, even making that determination, wait, this is discrimination, was hard to actually understand. And it took a long time to realize you were being discriminated against. To the point, so let me give you another example. When I was at Microsoft, after I'd been there for a few years, at Microsoft, they actually had to do a level up, or an increase in a merit increase to standardize for women, because it was showing that for the same levels of people who had come in at the same time, that some people, like the women, were just you could just do an analysis. It was pure data, and they could see that women were being paid less. So there was a 15% adjustment that had to be done across the board for all the women. And I remember I was a manager at the time, and I remember having to explain this to both my male and female employees and thinking, it's systemic. It's so systemic, and it has creeped up over all this time that we are in a situation where I have to defend not just to the men, but also the women who had internalized that it was normal. They're like, why are we artificially getting this 15% increase? And that was sad. So that was like, that was the start of a lot of my journey, where it's like, we all have to be role models to everybody around us. We all have to understand when it is actually a form of discrimination, and we all have to speak up, because you can't wait for somebody else to tell you the rule book of what is right or what is wrong. We have to be the people who set it up for the people who come behind us, right? So so that was another example. And then during my startup journey, and I am sure that many of you who are in startups know this, is that if we think it's bad for women who are in tech, in corporate, much worse in startup land. So I co-founded a startup with 2 other women. And, startups, of course, are actually hard, regardless of whether you're a woman or not. But it was really hard. And then I remember going in, and there was an investor who basically said, well, should we just invest in you because you're women? No, that's not why we're asking for money. And then he went on to say, well, I invested in a female founded startup once, and it didn't do well. I mean, and so this was his reason for not investing in us. So I don't think in this day and age he would say that, but I think back then it was still okay for him. The fact that it was okay for him to say that. And to be fair, he probably invested in many startups that failed, not just the one that was female founded. But in his mind, that was the only thing that stood out, which was unfortunate. So again, we have to change those things over time. So yeah, so there's setbacks and challenges. We can choose to either be disheartened by them and disappointed, or we can choose to try and change things, right? So the changing things is mentoring women, helping women, standing up for when we feel that we are asking questions correctly. And as Lola said, being willing to challenge people, right? Like, you have to challenge people when they say something that you think is wrong. So don't be afraid. You're not just speaking for yourself, you're speaking for everybody who comes behind you, is how I think about it, who will take your lead. And once you show up, others will show up as well. So like, as I said, it's myriad. I think the world is getting better. I am so excited to see so many women here wanting to learn and be part of this industry and becoming leaders. It's great. This was not the case. Time will change things. So be there, be present is how I've always approached it, and do the little part I can.
Oh, wow. Like, I don't even know what to say. I feel like that's so offensive. How can you compare you to just because you're women? Like, that's super offensive. But anyway, thank you so much for paving the way for other ladies, even in the example for the 15%. I'm just being vocal about what you're seeing and what's going on, and doing your part in making the change. I think it's part of the things that have contributed to how we are right now and how we view things right now. Like you said, sometimes it's even hard to know you're being discriminated, because most of the things have become just so normalized. Yeah. So thanks for that. Zainab, have you encountered any form of resistance or discrimination as a woman in leadership? And in a male-dominated field, how did you deal with such encounters?
So early on, when I started in technology, I'm a huge talkative. So if you discriminate me, I can't even hear you. Plus, I started using the headscarf in university, so I sort of was a bit conscious about my religion as well, and I knew that bias was going to be there. So I came in really strong. So before you discriminate me, I have said 1,000,001 things. You didn't even have an opportunity to speak. But then when I got into leadership, I noticed that sometimes my opinion did not count, even when I was really loud in the room. And I would question myself to say, maybe I didn't speak loud enough, or because I spoke too loud, maybe they didn't hear me or something. I really did not see it at the beginning until someone actually pointed it out to me. And what that did to me was, what he helped me see was, if I was in leadership and this is happening to me, then imagine those people who are just associates or executives. Is anybody even listening to them? And so what I quickly did was start to empower people that I knew were, of course, in tech, who I knew would still be minorities in conversations around technology or in the rooms there where I started giving them part of my confidence to say, this is going to happen to you. This is how you need to go about it. If someone is not allowing your voice be heard somewhere, this is how you quickly step back and let them know that you want to finish that conversation. These are the things that you can arm yourself with. And then I also started noticing the little or subtle discriminations that were coming in, and I started putting it down. What also really helped me was early in my career, I had a manager who is now my mentor, who literally held my hands and always gave me a confidence boost, right? So that discrimination did not affect me or dampen my spirits in any way. So what I just did was, at the point where some people are not able to hide the fact that they are disgusted by you being sitting on the same table with them, I started, if you try to make me feel little, I would let you know immediately why I'm at that table and why my voice deserves to be heard. And then just recently, it's been just about 2 or 3 months that I moved into the chief of staff role. Sometimes I will go out with my CEO and some people would think I'm a secretary. And I just feel like you just played yourself because you're about to hear how intelligent I am. So I think it's just consciously being that confident and being outspoken. And so they will ask me for things around, okay, where's your CEO's presentation? And I'll be like, oh, you can ask him. He has it. He has the mouth, he can speak. I'm not a secretary. I'm here as his chief of staff. And I also have some things to speak about. Or asking me to sit at the row behind. No, I will sit in front because I look very good on camera, you know. So it's just for me. So I'll just say it's being confident, knowing that wherever you are at, you deserve to be there. When discrimination comes, do not let it dampen you. Either you immediately try to put that person in their place in a very polite manner. Please do not be rude. Like, just be very polite and be very stern about not letting that discrimination come to you, letting that person see that they're not in the right. And then also trying to encourage other people behind you, associates, your colleagues, that if this happens to them, this is how you treat it and it has worked for you. This is how they may go about it.
Okay, I love the confidence. I mean, yeah, you add that bit because you deserve it and you should take your place very confidently and let other people know that you're there because you worked to be there and you deserve to be there. And also this comment that people usually make, like, you're probably at that table because you're a woman and they needed the representation. No, I'm there because I worked hard and I deserve to be here. Probably even more intelligent, but Anyway, so on to the next question. I'll continue with you, Zainab. So the theme of this year, the International Women's Day, is Inspire Inclusion. How do you think we can include women in decision-making spaces while still ensuring they're productive in other aspects of their lives, e.g. family and motherhood?
Okay. International Women's Month, right? So I just spoke about this recently. So in case you've heard that interview, I'm just going to regurgitate what I said. I'm sorry. So I think, first of all, there are 3 things that sort of exclude women. The first one is stereotypes, right? When I was choosing to study computer sciences, I have a computer science degree. People said to my parents, because of course they didn't say anything to me, they just said, computer science, let her go into softer things. And my dad then said to them that I have 2 sisters, or I had 2 sisters, said to them that I'm raising confident girls. And if Zainab is deciding to study computer science, she can do it, right? And it's so sad that in 2024, we still have those stereotypes. People believe that women shouldn't do particular things. And I'll quickly cite an example. When I was doing my internship, I was working in core infrastructure and my boss was a woman. I don't know how I did not mention her when you were speaking about, when I was speaking about women in leadership who had encouraged me. And so I was in core infrastructure, and that meant that we would move, and it wasn't a commercial bank in Nigeria. That means that we would move heavy servers because we had an on-premise server room. And to be honest, I'm weak. Those things were super heavy. And after lifting them, I would need 20 minutes to get myself back. And I would complain and whine. And then she pulled me aside one day and said, she's been an executive or a junior officer in my shoes before, and she knows those things are very difficult to lift. And she just wants me to do it because it's part of the internship experience and the excitement I will get from it. Like I can look back now and say, I lifted servers, I changed router disk, I did all these things. But as a woman, she would also encourage me to sort of use my influence not to lift those things, right? So it's either I start going to lift weights when I get home so that I can lift the servers, or I use my influence to tell the boys that there are some things they don't want to do, like invoicing. So we swap. You carry my servers when I need to carry servers. I'll do the invoicing, right? So the stereotypes would not really look to them like Zainab is weak and she can't do servers. It's just Zainab enjoys doing these things more. So she will stick to invoicing and we can be the boys and carry the servers. So it won't look to them as if I cannot do it. And that advice really went a long way. And so it's also for me, when I started seeing other women where they're not able to do things in a world where it's very stereotypical, I just kept on sharing that advice. You can do it. It won't forever be a boys' club. We're breaking into these things. You literally can do it. If you go there and you carry that server and you faint, it's okay. You wake up. It's fine. You just go ahead and do the difficult things, right? So that's one. The second thing is having role models. And good thing is, at least in my generation, we have a lot of role models that we can look up to and say, this woman has done this. That means that I can do it. For instance, when I was drafted to be on this panel and I saw Shanti's profile, I said, this is the woman I'm trying to be. And so I have a role model in her. And then I can look up to her and say, she's worked in these amazing places. She's been a startup founder. Now she's coaching people. This is the kind of woman I want to be. And I will be that woman because I can see somebody like her. And so if we have role models, if we consistently check in with those role models, see how we can become better. And a very good thing for us is, at least in Nigeria, we have 10 women who are commercial bank MDs. It's something really huge for us to look up to. That's 2. And then 3 in itself, like I say, it's womanhood. We need to make and nurture babies. We are striving to do work-life balance. There's no balance anywhere. So what can enable us is when we have workplaces where they have put good policies in place to support us. Like Shanti mentioned, she went on leave. When you are on leave, so let's say it's a maternity leave or you're just taking out some time to take care of your children, let the policies be there to support you when you are back. Let somebody not take over that role. Let somebody not take over that role. And then maybe you're getting a demotion and then they're saying you're no more relevant in these things. If organizations can put in policies to support women so that even if they do not have a great support system on the home front, they can manage their own front and still excel at work. So I'll just quickly recap. It's 3 things: break the stereotype, find role models, and having womanhood not getting too much in either of the places, either work or in life.
Love it, love it, love it. Amazing. I think you should consider being like a storyteller or something on the side as well. I'm here laughing the whole time. I'm like, yes. Yeah, I think we lost one of our panelists, Lola. I don't think she's in the meeting anymore. So I'm gonna go back to Shanti. So what would you say this year's International Women's Day theme, Inspire Inclusion, means to you personally?
Well, first of all, Zainab, I am inspired by you, okay? So I love your energy, your enthusiasm. I love that you can be this strong leader today. And, I look forward to you inspiring more women, which are already being inspired on the chat, as we can see. So that's awesome. Thank you for everything you do. So I think for inclusion, inspiring inclusion, we need a diverse set of people to be involved in tech, okay, in the industry and in tech, because everything nowadays, unfortunately or fortunately, is being run by tech, and partly because tech can also help us solve critical problems. And I think we need everybody around the table in order to solve those problems. And that's what it means in terms of, like, for me, we need women. Women make up more than 50% of the population, right? So if you don't have women in the workforce, you're losing out on so much talent and ability. And then we need this not just to show up in people who are entering the tech field, which is definitely, I think, tech for dev, all of these things are really important to increase the number of people coming into the industry. And yes, but again, we have to think of it as a funnel, right? Like that's the starting point. But we need women at all levels of representation in the organization. We need women who are CEOs of banking institutions, for example, but we need women who are CEOs of companies, not just in leadership roles, right? We have seen women now, we are on boards. I'm on the board of both a nonprofit and a for-profit. We need more women on boards. So for me, inspiring inclusion is really about bringing more women, but more women into strategic roles that influence our future. There are a lot of big challenges we have to face with some of the things that are going on. If you think about many things, and some of them impact women more. So if you think about healthcare, for example, like so many things in healthcare are very important to women. Women have a lot of things that both contribute. They live longer, so they're having babies. There are all of these things that impact them. So having more women in technology solving problems for healthcare is important for them to be involved in that, for women to be involved in. So one of the examples I think about when I think about why women is important is there is, I don't know if you're familiar with Grab. Grab is the Uber that was created in Singapore. It's the Uber for Uber in Singapore. So it's, and one of the co-founders, actually a woman. And so and one of the big things that they had to think about when they were building these kind of software in Singapore and also in Malaysia with Gojek is they didn't think of it just as convenience to be able to find an Uber anywhere that would let you take you from place A to place B, but they also thought about it in regard to safety of women who would get into those places. So they thought about it from the aspect of GPS and of tracking, of knowing which place you were in at any given time to ensure that you can get in one place and get out the other place. So that gives women access, right? So there, you're talking about a problem that is being solved by women for a solution that actually helps women have more access and be more available. So these are kind of problems where I think, if you didn't have that lens, you would not look into it in that way. This is why I think inspiring inclusion is about having more women look at the problems, not just for, and interesting ways to solve them for women as well.
I couldn't agree more. Thanks for that. In line with just what you said, I think I'll move on to the next question and ask you, considering the societal, economic, and cultural barriers women face in this part of the world, how would you say the inclusion of more women in the technology sector would impact Africa as a whole?
So I think this is a tough one. I think, in Africa, I think, tech in Africa has evolved more in the last 2 decades, right? As opposed to before that. And I can already see that there's rapid changes happening, but I think of it similar to Asia, where, for a long time, there wasn't as much development other than China. And, but over time, they have increased a lot. For example, mobile. If you think about mobile technology, it actually was adopted much faster and by people in Africa and Asia, where they didn't have the previous physical infrastructure for phones. So, and mobile has changed the way we all live, right? So we are able to do a lot of different things. So when I think about places like Africa, which are specific problems, we talked about healthcare, we talk about access, we talk about how mobile can actually bring access. You think about payments, payment systems. There's like a big part of what's happening in Africa has to do with fintech because of the fact that payment systems are very different. And so when I think about women being part of this industry in Africa, it's about helping to solve those kind of troubles and understanding how these solutions can actually change the life of women. So if you're able to do micropayments from a device where you or get microloans through a device that is equally accessible to you, you are able to connect. I mean, think about it. You were telling me you have a power outage, but you're able to connect through your mobile phone and stay connected in a time where so you don't have to rely on that infrastructure. This is important, I think. And also, I think characterizing Africa as a monolithic thing is also very incorrect, because I think different countries in Africa are at different levels of progress when it comes to technology, right? So, I mean, Nigeria is definitely one of the ones at the forefront of technology, along with South Africa and Egypt, etc. But there's the other countries are also catching up. Again, you have to be in software to drive software. The other thing that I think for women is that because there's this access to technology, and yes, like Lola said earlier, you don't have to, and again, I know, no offense to everybody who's been in engineering and computer science, you don't have to be a computer scientist in order to be in technology. There are so many people who are in technology who did not start in computer science. So it should not it should not hold you back. And in fact, with that kind of access through mobile, through computers, through software, through the availability of the internet, and through things like Coursera there are free courses that can teach you, through Tech for Dev and Techsters that has programs that are there. There are so many things that you can teach yourself and enter the industry. I think this is the barrier. The barriers to adoption are lower than they've ever been before. So I would say that's why I think there is a bright outlook. And in fact, when you're in the nascency, if we can get more women in when we're still in the nascency, there's more ability for representation. And I believe we're still at the start of the journey. So maybe I'm being falsely optimistic, but that's how I choose to be.
I mean, the only way to go is to be optimistic. So I'm totally on your side. Yeah, I'm actually one of the many people in tech who don't have a tech background. But we got in, we self-taught, and we are here now, right? So don't give up and just keep pushing. Thanks, Shanti. So I'll move over to Zainab. We've talked about imposter syndrome a lot, yeah. So we know it impacts women, so particularly in the context of assuming leadership roles. And you are in that leadership role. You've told us about all the amazing ways you stand up for yourself. So have you encountered imposter syndrome? And if so, how did you manage it?
So I think it's something everyone struggles with. And even when Lola was saying things about you don't even want to ask questions because you don't want it to be stupid. I sometimes, as a girl, I feel sort of inadequate, especially because the men are so confident. Like, no offense to anyone, but sometimes they are actually saying things that are not in line with the context. They are saying things that are totally irrelevant, but they will say it with 100% confidence. And so sometimes I'm just like, I'm not as eloquent. My English isn't even that great. What if I say something and I don't say it properly? I already am coming with so much confidence. Then I now sort of take myself from where I am and then they bring me somewhere here. And so it happens every single day. And these days more when you open LinkedIn and somebody has achieved something nice and everybody is happy to share that. They're happy to share this, they're happy to share that. How I've been able to work with that or sort of not let it overshadow or overtake the amazing person that I am is, again, when I see people like Shanti, I know that I can do it. She has broken down all the barriers. Like for her, literally, I'm like, there was no ceiling for her. So who am I not to get to where she is, right? I'm looking at like the recent woman CEO of Zenith Bank, and I'm like, she's been there for so many years. She's served. She's made changes to policies. She's brought up people. She has strong succession planning. Why can't I be that woman? So I constantly remind myself that people have gone before me and they've done it well. And so I'm not going to let this little monster creep up and steal my shine. And then I also have a mom who was in the Ministry of Health and retired after working for 35 years. And while she was running that, she was also running a home like a major general. I see her do that and I'm like, oh, I can do it. So each time that little monster is coming to say, Zainab, you're just a little girl, you really don't have a lot to add. You're just doing product management anyway. Anybody can do it. I just quickly remind myself that people have gone before me. And for me to even have gotten to this space, that means there's something in me that has come across as good. I am smart, I am intelligent, and I will keep doing it. This doesn't mean that right after telling you this, I won't feel inadequate, that maybe I was even misleading people, but I will quickly reassure myself that I can do it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Your confidence is admirable, honestly. Like I'm just here thinking, okay, like I wish I was like that when I started. I feel like I went through it was like a very steep learning curve for me. For me, like my confidence was in the pits when I started. I didn't feel like I belonged. Like for me, I was the voice in my head telling me I can't do it, and then now adding on to all these people around you telling you you're a woman, you can do it. So it was double trouble. Like the fact that I didn't even quit, it's always like very amusing to me. So yeah, definitely be like Zainab. Please be confident, be vocal in what you're doing, express yourself, share your thoughts. I mean, that's the only way to grow. Like that's how you're gonna learn even how to articulate yourself better, only through experience. So put yourself in positions that even scare you, because that's the only way you'll grow. Yeah. Okay, cool. So since Lola isn't back, we'll move over to the last question for our panelists today. I'll go over to Shanti. So what one advice would you give to the young women on the call who are about to start a career in STEM? Yeah, so you're this amazing one who's done all these amazing things, and we want to be you. So how do we be you?
No. I challenge you all to be better than me, to break more barriers, right? Like I stood on the shoulders of the women who came before me. I want you all to stand higher, go reach higher, have bigger goals, right? So I would say beyond. So I think thank you for saying that you did not come from a tech background. I think this is so very critical. A lot of people don't understand that many fields, especially data science, I am a firm believer that, and it sounds weird, that women and data science go together like peas in a pod. And the reason there's some scientific reason. I'm sure you all have seen the movie Hidden Figures from the United States. And a lot of it, if you remember, they would hire women because they were computers. And the reason is that women are really good at arithmetic and they're really good at a lot of algebra stuff. And if you think about coding and programming is a very linear thing. You say, okay, I'm going to solve this problem and I'm going to write this code to solve this problem. Data science doesn't come from that specificity, right? It's not just solving a problem. You're looking for insights into things that make sense. You're making inference. And these are things that women do well. They're multitaskers, right? Like they're always thinking of multiple things. All that voice in your head telling you about your imposter syndrome, everything that's going on in your head. You're trying to make data make sense. And this, I think, and if you think about data science, it's like people always say, oh, it's similar. It's not. It's like saying that calculus is the same as statistics. It's not. They're both in math. That is correct, but they are not the same. And I think that women are uniquely well positioned in this world of data science and AI to take advantage of this, right? So even if you don't have all of that, even if you're not a coder, you don't like to do programming, does not matter. Does not mean that it will not be difficult. Same thing with product. And I don't know who said that product is not important, but product are between designers and product. It's how it's understanding. It's about telling the story. It's about getting people to do things differently, use products differently. These are all things that you have to do. So these are all fields that I think women do well. I mean, look at how well Zainab tells the story. This is, and the craft of product is about being able to tell good stories, to resonate, to reach people, to make them do something differently. So that part is in all of us. So I think that learn as much as you can. There's so much free stuff. Spend your time when you could be sitting there scrolling on social media. Spend some of that time just taking a quick class. There are free classes everywhere. Listen to talks. So keep learning. Second, take risks. Go out of your comfort zone. So this is really important. Even if you think you cannot do it, try it. Like the good part is that, I mean, yes, people think there's not a lot of access, but you can start by being a tech support person and then move into tech. There's no reason. I mean, Zainab was telling us she has a computer science degree and she started by lugging computers, okay, as an internship. Go join and do one of those things. There's so many paths into tech that don't feel like you are blocked. Take the risk. Do something that doesn't seem linearly in tech, but is close enough and is adjacent. That is a way to do it, right? Don't wait. Okay. Second, and the last thing I would say is persevere. It will get better, right? It will get better. I mean, if you look even at Philomena or Zainab, where they were when they started and where they are today, you know, they feel like they can do so much more. Maybe they thought they differently when they started, right? So it's just persevere, hang in there. You will get there.
I agree 100%. Like the only way to make progress is to do the things that you're scared to do. Don't listen to the voices. Like, you don't self-reject. Like I don't even know what to add. Like that was amazing. It was perfect. Like please just do your best out there and always put yourself in rooms that makes you even scared, because that's how you grow. Yeah, and fun fact, my favorite movie is Hidden Figures. I've watched it like a million times. So yes, I agree. I'm always there thinking I would, if I was there, I would be the one solving this math equation. Yeah. So over to Zainab. If you could look back at your younger self starting out in tech, what advice would you give her?
Yes. I'm going to pick two things from what Shanti said. Because I started in tech in 2014. And the first advice I would give myself is stop scrolling through the things that won't give you money and go on the things that will give you progress. Like learn the things that are available. A lot of these resources are free, and learn fast, because technology changes every day. The consumer trends that we know today may not necessarily be the consumer trends in the next 2 to 3 years. Technology will change. We can see the way AI is disrupting literally everything. So the first one I will say to Zainab from 2014 is learn fast, and learn with the available resources. Like, I don't need to wait till I have money to do something. So a lot of prerequisites. So that's the first one. Number two would be, again, from what Shanti said, is take risks and do not be afraid to break anything. When I was in technology support, I was always worried about if I go into the Active Directory, would I cause someone's computer to go off? And then I'm calling the supervisor to say, could you check this? They necessarily didn't need to check those things. I was just afraid. Well, if I had gone into the Active directly and changed the policy, maybe the entire marketing department won't work for like 2 hours, but I would learn from that mistake. I would learn how to bring them back to speed. I would learn what code not to put in the Active directly. I would know what permissions not to tamper with. And so if I was to tell Zainab in 2014, I would say, do not be afraid. And now I'm not encouraging anybody to break anything. Some of us, we are working with production apps. Please, just in case you think, I didn't break those things in 24. I may break them now, but just take those risks. That would be the second thing. And then number three would be network like crazy. You see, Shanti also mentioned that, she stood on the shoulders of women that were there before her. I think a lot of us are sort of shy when it comes to networking. Maybe we think we're there for the Coca-Cola. We're not there to drink Cocoa. You are there to network, tell people about yourself, what you're doing, learn what they're doing as well, and not also take every networking opportunity as a means to ask for something. I think that's another mistake that we make. So in networking, just be open to just learning about what people are doing. Try to see if there's something you can help them solve. And just also having people who are relevant to your progress and that you would also be beneficial to their progress. So again, just three things: take risks, learn fast, like social media, except you are a content creator. Like for me, I'm just scrolling, like it doesn't make me any money. So if it doesn't make you any money, stop the idle scrolling and do the scrolling that will give you progress, and then network like crazy. Beneficial networking. Do not be opportunistic. Do not always seek out. Also be ready to give something. Like, don't think that you're just starting out, you don't have anything to give. That's your little experience may be beneficial to somebody else. That's it.
Thank you. Yeah, totally agree. Like, even same as Shanti, don't feel like I need to add anything more to that, or elaborate in anything more. That was perfect. One thing that you did say in the middle there is look for people who are learning the same thing. For me, that has been very significant for me in my journey. I know people talk about mentorship a lot. So like you're being mentored by somebody who's ahead of you. But peer mentorship has done wonders for me. When we talk about this imposter syndrome and you have that person who you're on the same journey with, who you're busy breaking things with, like Zania, you can tell them like, today I deleted the database. Anyway, don't delete databases, but yeah. Like you can be able to even sit with them, debug your code. You go with them to these networking events, and then now you're able to give each other confidence to go through the journey together. And since you understand each other, then you're able to get to these milestones together and make those mistakes. That don't make these mistakes, though, but yeah, allow yourself to make mistakes because that's how you learn. So I think now that we're at the end, should we move over to the Q&A section?
Yes, Philomena, I think I can take it over from here. Oh my God. Wow, this was such an amazing session. Yeah, I wrote three pages. I have 3 pages full. And it was really, really insightful. So I think I will just start by saying thank you so much, Shanti. Thank you so much, Zainab. Thank you so much, Philomena. This was an amazing session. There was so much to take home from it. Even when before Lola dropped off, she still gave us like quite a lot, and hopefully she'll be able to join back during this Q&A segment. So thank you all so very much. I was just looking at the chat, and I was just laughing to myself. I saw Joy say that she's not going to scroll again. She said, thank you so much. I will not scroll anyhow. I'll waste my data again. And that is very, 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 very important. Quite a number of people, ladies on the call, please, if you learn something, I want to see you interact. I want to see, something that really stood out for you on the webinar chat, because I've been seeing like quite a number of people saying thank you. Yes, please let us say thank you to Shanti, to Philomena, to Zainab. Amazing, amazing session. Now we'll quickly come into the Q&A. Gladys says, I'm lucky to be here. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So I'll be taking the Q&A section, and I will be directing all questions, and I'll be directing the questions to all of our panelists. So please says, how do you get an entry role as someone who just transitioned into tech? So I think I'd like to direct this question to Philomena, because Philomena mentioned earlier that she did transition into tech. So hi Philomena, do you have any words of advice for peace who would like to get an entry role as someone who just transitioned into tech?
So I'd say if you're in the beginning stages where it's still in the process of doing like tutorials, etc., and leveraging on the content online, I'd say also focus on having projects that you've worked on, because it's very easy to get stuck in this loop of doing tutorial after tutorial and not actually practicing on what you're doing. Because when you actually do projects and you're able to even put them on your CV, etc., then even when you're applying for that entry level role, even though you might not necessarily have the work experience, when the person who's going through your CV, they'll see your initiative to learn and your initiative to do those projects. Number two, leverage on tech communities. I I have gotten most, if not all, my roles through the tech community. So networking with people, making sure people know what you're doing, challenge yourself to be at the forefront of like sharing even the little that you know. If you have learned what data is, like go share with people, even when you're pitching or even when you're doing your elevator pitch during that networking event. Make sure you're able to articulate and position yourself such that you don't seem like you are, like as Zainab said, like you're just getting in it to get something from it, but also when you're able to show that you can do something and you're putting a lot of effort towards doing something, then like somebody will, maybe an internship will open up in their role, or when they're talking up to you, then they'll be like, oh yeah, maybe we can have an internship at our company. Yeah, I'd say for me those two things come to me top of mind, but in case I think of anything else, I'll just let you know.
Okay, thank you so very much for that, Philomena. So I'd just like to quickly piggyback on that. I can see a question here about someone who's interested in data science and asking if there's a particular programming language that they should focus on. Hi, Philomena, did you get that? Okay,
Sorry?
you're muted. Okay,
oh.
yeah. So I
Could
was
you
just, yeah, so the question is, the person is interested in data science and she's asking if there's a particular programming language that she should focus on.
Oh, Python. I would say Python largely if you're in data, so that you can be able, because it's largely used for the analysis bit when you're doing EDA and stuff. But then it's also dependent on the company where you're going. You may find even the company where you're going, people don't leverage on Python or like actually coding, depending on what you're doing under data analysis. Then there's some people who use Excel, there's some people who use other tools. So I'd say be very open-minded about the tools that are out there, but then also have the skills such that even when you go to a company and you find they're using Excel, you can be the one speaking there and saying, I can actually program this and automate things, guys. Yeah. You don't need to be doing all these things manually. So yeah, just make sure what I did and still do right now is to go online and search the skill that you need for a particular role, if it's data analysis. And then you literally have a checklist, like I will do a tutorial on this, and then I'll try out a project on this. I'll go and read on Python. I'll try this, etc. So that even when you're in getting into that role, like even when somebody hits you with a question during an interview or something, you're able to say like, I've heard of this, and show them that you understand what you're talking about, but you'll go and learn later.
Awesome. Thank you so very much for that, Flumina. Hi, Lola. I can see you're back. I want to see that some of the ladies on the call missed you as well. So just to quickly put this out there, Lola is a product designer. So I know if you're on the call and you have questions for her around that learning track, you can just put it in the Q&A There was a particular question we asked all speakers that I would really love Lola to speak on. And that's about what last words of advice do you have for the ladies on the call who are about to kickstart their tech career? So if you could quickly speak to that, Lola, we would really appreciate that. Hi, Lola, can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, right. What advice do I have for people that are just starting out their careers? Yeah, I definitely say first of all is lean into support, or basically like try to like find a support system that you can go with along the way. For me, I'd say that obviously some people might be lucky to have mentors. I was lucky to have like people that I could reach out to just ask, what's going on, what should I include in my learning roadmap, and how can I navigate XX and X challenges pretty much. And not just even having those people, but also like looking out for communities that I could join as well. So for example, like while I was in Lagos back then, I joined communities like, Ashakoteri, she yeah, Ashakuteri, sorry, she something Africa, sorry, I forgot her name. But anyway, the point is that I joined a lot of communities.
Africa.
Yeah, she called Africa, yes. So I joined a lot of communities that I felt like, had people that were in on the same learning journey as me. That also had like some people that were more or less like acting as community guides that I could ask questions to, that I could pretty much like also like collaborate with on projects, and basically just like could act as a support system to me while I was learning, so that it's not just me, taking my courses and trying to figure out all that stuff. And yeah, these are things that really help you, because like along the way, you get to like go from, oh, this is all the theory and stuff I'm reading, to like, oh, actually like practicalizing it on real life projects, especially if you find collaborators to work with, or especially if you can ask one of your mentors to like have you shadow their projects, for example, so that you like actually learn on the job. And yeah, so that's look out for a support system. And also, yeah, I think Shanti touched a little on this earlier, but you should definitely like share your work. Share your work in the sense that, obviously like when you're just starting out, you might be a bit shy to like say, oh, I want to post on Twitter or LinkedIn or stuff, because I don't really know if my designs are good enough, or I don't want people coming to like shit on my work and say it sucks or something. But I feel like you should do it anyway, especially when you're in that phase, because it really helps you to start to build the backbone for receiving feedback. And that's quite important if you're going to be in the world of tech. Like, I don't think there's any tech role that you basically like feedback isn't like a key part of your day to day. So it's better you like start early, like post on Twitter, let 100 people say that it's not fine or whatever. It doesn't matter, because like you get really good feedback. You might get feedback that you don't really need to do anything with, but at least you get the feedback and you start getting used to like implementing and improving your work. And that really goes a long way, to be fair. So I'd say, yeah, these 2 points, be visible, reach out to people for support, and yeah, basically just like keep at it, and I'm sure that everything will work out fine.
All right, thank you so very, very much for that, Lola. So you heard Lola, everyone visible, find a support system, find communities you can join. I saw a question asking if we have data analysis community. Yes, both in our bootcamp and in our fellowship, we have courses for the data analysis. So I will just quickly, because I can see we are already getting out of time. So I'll just quickly run through some questions. I can see a question here that I would like to direct to Shanti. So Oluchuku, pardon me if I mispronounce your name, says, I am almost through with my training as a software engineer. How do I scout for remote internship jobs? And I would just piggyback on that for another question that says, for a young lady looking at starting a young woman in tech program in the nearest future. So this is someone that wants to start a program that will be streamlined for young women in tech, right? What advice would you give to this person to help achieve such goals? Over to you, Shanti.
Thank you. Yeah, I think getting internships, I mean, remote roles, while they were much more prevalent during COVID time, I think there's going to be a lot more that are going to be both in person as well as remote. So you just have to be aware of that. I think for internship, I think this is about networking. You really have to get the support system. You have to join communities. I loved what Lola said, be part of communities. That's where you're going to see a lot of postings. That's where you can have others be talking about things that you're doing. The other thing that as a software intern is make sure your GitHub and your projects are up to date. Like it's really important. Like it's the Twitter of like for coding is like to have GitHub projects, especially if you've collaborated with others or you have built on someone else's GitHub project. Make sure that's included in all your resumes. This is really helpful for managers to know what kind of things that you do in that space, especially as a software engineer. So, and then, yeah, so I think, the problem is that, yes, you could send in an application for anything if there's on campus or through your university. If you're getting a degree, there will be on campus or some sort of a way for the university to provide access to employers. You should definitely sign up for those, but you should also go through other communities. Go look up at startup technology job boards. They're going to have like lower barriers sometimes to entry, and then make sure that your projects are up to date. For the second question, with regarding women in tech communities, I think the most important thing when you're thinking about technology is remembering that you have to think a couple of steps ahead, right? Not really think about skills that were very useful even 2 to 3 years ago or 5 years ago. You have to be looking forward to what are the things that are big. As we've said, AI is disrupting everything. So you really want to make sure that whatever you're doing is going to be in line with that. So for example, remember that a lot of code is going to be auto-generated. There's going to be a lot of change in when you think about how coding will be done 5 years from now. A lot of it will be auto-generated. What does that mean? Does that mean that we don't need software engineers looking at code? No. What it means is that as a software engineer, your job is to be able to look at that auto-generated code and be able to assess whether it's doing things correctly or incorrectly and being able to review and edit it well, right? So doesn't mean your job goes away. It's like the way you do your job is going to change. So if you're thinking about creating communities for that, look at forward-looking skills. I think a lot of the things that are on the Techsters site are things that will still be very valid. Cybersecurity, AI, data science, those are all the fields that are going to exist moving forward. So those are the kind of communities I would build is around that. The second is think about the solution space. Think about what are the problems that you're doing. Is it, agri-tech, clean tech, all of these things will have huge impacts in the next few years. This is like with climate change, et cetera. So think about things in that solution space that would have diverse sort of problem solving techniques that could be applied to that, which could be anything from research. I mean, yes, you can do Python, but you could even do R and be like doing research in clean tech, right? That's a huge part of all research industries right now. So that could be another way for you to think. Again, I would broaden what women in tech really means. I hope that's helpful.
Oh, I believe that should be very, very helpful. Thank you so much for that, Shanti. Hi, Zainab. So there's a question for you. I'll just like to try to merge 2 questions into one. So Elizabeth is saying that every day she feels this fear of uncertainty in her career in product management as she's just starting out. Right? She previously had a career in video editing that she has built over time. So she's asking, when you started out in product management, what was something that kept you going? I can even see another question on, staying motivated in your learning. This person was talking about how that it's been a challenge finishing courses and considering how like busy life can get, right? Any tips on how to remain motivated in their learning. So I think I can just make these two questions because they're quite similar. About uncertainty in her career in product management as they're just starting out. They previously had a career of video editing that they had built over time, and asking that when you started out, what kept you going? And just another similar question about how to stay motivated and focused in your learning journey in tech. Over to you, Zainab.
Okay, so and I said this to people. You need to know the reason you are coming into product management. And no offense to product managers, we have a very low barrier to entry. And so people just think it's a walk in the park, we can do it. You need to literally sit yourself down and say, when I become a product manager, what is my end goal? Am I just going into it because I want to be in tech and it's an easy way out? Or I'm going into it because I want to be able to enable people with technology and ensure that they're engaged at it. And so when I started out, I actually wanted to do project management. But then I took some exam called PMP and I failed. And I said, I'm not going back to stuff like that. And then we had an in-house team where I worked in a startup. And the head of products was a woman and she was doing so amazing. So I just went up to her and said, I have a computer science degree. I'm tired of tech support. I've done it for 2 years. Like, I know everything there is to know about it, and I want to do product management. And she told me, go back and understand why you want to do it. And so I came back and I think I gave her 2 reasons. My first reason was, again, I was in e-commerce. It was my first tech job before I had done something in data analysis. And I said I wanted to understand people's pains in e-commerce because we already had people like Flipkart and Alibaba and Walmart and Amazon, where there's really nothing new anybody is doing in e-commerce, right? But I wanted to understand the Nigerian ecosystem in e-commerce, and I wanted to build software solutions for them that would make shopping easy. Remember at that time, this was 2014 in Nigeria, we were very comfortable with cash on delivery. Nobody wanted to put their card details on a website because they wanted to buy a t-shirt or something else. And so it was very important for me at that time to know that if I want to build for these people, I should build for their convenience. That's the first thing I told her. Second thing I said was, I have this computer science degree. I want to be able to do something with it. And my end goal, even if it seemed very superficial at the time, I wanted to be a director of products at Google. Even if Google did not have anything e-commerce. I wasn't even thinking Amazon at the time. But then maybe like 2 months later, when for every use case we were doing, we were always bringing, oh, Amazon is doing this, Flipkart is doing this. And maybe I sort of now changed to director of products at Amazon. But those were the 2 things. I first of all wanted to solve for Nigeria in e-commerce and then use that my tech degree to say, you know what, it was people were telling my parents at the time to dissuade me from doing computer science. But see now, I'm this big director in North America doing this big thing with Google. So those were my 2 main reasons going in. Now those 2 reasons have changed over the years. Sometimes now I think, okay, maybe I just want other people to see me in my role in product management and come in and see that my headscarf is not blocking my brain. Sometimes it may be that, because I'm still in e-commerce, and so I did that e-commerce for 4 years. Now I've been in e-commerce again for 3 years. Sometimes it could be that I want to help people who are not technology savvy get on the internet and then do e-commerce. But I always have that goal that is to help people and, sometimes to show off as well, right? So you need to know your reason for going in. And for each time my reason changes, I look at my vision board in my head and I say, is this still in correlation with how I wanted my life to go? Am I still on that goal? And maybe when it gets to a point where that goal isn't anymore a goal, you now want to change it into something else and then start striving towards that goal. And so for every point in time, I was looking at something. This is where I want to be. Director of product at Google, director of product at Google, director of product at Google, right? So have a solid reason. Because if you don't have a solid reason, when you get in and your engineers start telling you, oh, you don't know how to code, shut up, the only thing you know how to do is speak English when it comes to backlog grooming, you will run away from product management. When people start telling you, when people start telling you that anybody can be a product manager, you really start thinking, truly, anybody can be. And then you want to do something that shows that you are in tech. So again, know where you're going in. Maybe have 2 to 3 things that you keep looking at that would keep you focused on the goal of being in product management. That was the first one. The second question was, how do you stay constantly learning, or how do you
stay motivated while learning?
See, to be very honest, nobody can motivate you except yourself. You know, to get from point A to point B, you need to do X, Y, and Z. If you don't do X, point B will always be in the future you will never get to. And then imposter syndrome will kick in. You will start seeing people share on LinkedIn that they've gotten to B. You are still in A because you refuse to learn, because you refuse to drop your phone and go on Coursera and do things. So motivation, I'm sorry if I'm not answering your question, but just again, look at what your goal is. Point B is your goal. What do you need to do to get there? I know we all complain about, I live in Lagos and people say there's a lot of traffic. Okay, you're working from the office before you get home is night. You see, some people have 2 jobs. Some people have their 9 to 5s and they're also entrepreneurs on the side. How are they doing it? You know how our African mothers would say, they don't have 2 heads. It's just this one head they have. And they are doing those things. So you need to keep yourself motivated. You need to remind yourself that if you don't learn X, Y, and Z, you will never get to point B. And if you're comfortable in being a local champion, you're comfortable in your comfort zone, by all means, stay there and don't learn. But if you want to be better, you want to be able to excel in your career, you want your children to look up to you, you want your community to look up to you, you want to be that responsible female Nigerian, then please keep learning. Like, I never stop learning. It's Ramadan now and I'm fasting. Otherwise, I would have read at least 2 books this month. If any other person is in product management, you would know this Silicon Valley product group. They have a new book called Transformed. And because it's the Ramadan, I'm not reading, but I just got it. See, the minute I stop fasting, I'm reading it. Because you can never stop learning. And it's from these books, you learn how corporations in North America and in Europe, how they've become better at their products. And I can be able to take those lessons and apply it to products that I'm building in Nigeria. It's a constant journey. Don't stop learning. Again, I don't know how to motivate people. Though. I will motivate myself. Me, I want to be a director of products one day. So if you have a goal and you're trying to get somewhere, don't stop learning. Please, you are the only one that can motivate yourself. I can only speak so much, but then it's you. It's just you. Point A to B, it's you. That's it.
All right, thank you so very, very much, Zainab, for that. We're actually out of time, so we can't take any more questions. There's just one more question I know it's directed to Lola that I'll just quickly ask. Lola, if it's something you can answer in a minute or so. The question is how to successfully specialize in UX writing in product design. Is that something you can quickly answer, and then we can just wrap up the session?
Specialize in UX writing. I'd say from my experience, like anytime you're talking about like specializing, a lot of the work is basically just in like how you position your stuff and how you create work that helps you stand out as an expert in that field. So if you're trying to specialize in UX writing, my advice would be to like lean into your content content marketing side of things, and try to like write articles that reinforce like what you're learning. So maybe depending on where you are in your learning journey, as you're learning, you can regurgitate some of the knowledge, post them as articles, write case studies, put your case studies out there, on LinkedIn as well. Make sure like you optimize your profile, make sure that you just like talk more about your work, and pretty much like communicate what it is that you're doing for any organization that you're hoping to join, or if you're currently even on the job, make sure that you communicate everything it is that you're doing on a daily basis, or the highlights of what you've learned, and keep posting about it on social media. These are things that like help you over time come to be seen as a subject matter expert in your field. And you notice that even the more that you do it, a lot of people will start to subconsciously just refer to you as, oh, a UX writer, or whenever they think about someone that they need for UX writing, you'll be the first person that comes to mind. So yeah, that's basically my advice.
Thank you so very much for keeping that short, and thank you also for that wonderful advice. Thank you, ladies, for staying till this time. I'm pretty sure you must have learned something. I'm just trying to quickly put the LinkedIn. You can connect with all of our speakers on LinkedIn. So I'm just quickly trying to put the links to their LinkedIn profile so you can connect with them. And so there's a question here about, I think how to start tech journey. Philomena already said something on that. Someone's asking about leveraging social media with digital tools we've learned. If you've been here since the beginning, all of our speakers have touched about how important it is to be visible, to put yourself out there, and to ensure that you're showcasing the work that you have done. Thank you so very much, Zainab. Thank you so very much, Shanti. Thank you so very much, Lola. And thank you, Philomena. It has been an amazing session. We just have one last thing to do, and that is to take pictures, and then we're out of here. Please, ladies, I want you to help me especially thank everyone here. Shanti is across the ocean, and it's very early for her. Yes, she joined Zainab and Philomena are both battling with flu and cold, and yet they came on and gave us really powerful pieces. I mean, Lola had a very busy schedule and she still made it over here. Thank you all so very much. So if you'd like to be part of our picture section, kindly raise your hand and I'll promote you to the panel session. And then I always like to say that it's always good to have, this is actually an event spoken about networking, right? This is something that you can take pictures with and showcase on your social media and post that, oh, I attended the Women Techsters Open Day and I learned this, I learned that. You can even tag one of the speakers, tag tech for them, oh, Shanti mentioned this, or Zena mentioned this, or Philomena mentioned this, and it really resounded with me. Do you understand? So you can actually start to make use of some of the things that you learned in this session right here. So I'm already promoting us to the panel session. Once we promoted to the panel session, please make sure you turn your video on. Ensure that you are in a place where you can, turn your video on and, your brightest smile. Let's just get ready to take some beautiful pictures. Please, once you're promoted to the panel section, kindly turn your video on so you can take pictures. We are already out of time. I'm really sorry for taking our time to this extent. I can see a couple of people already on the panel session. And I've identified the number of persons. I'm really sorry if I can't add everybody, but please, once you've been added, kindly turn your video on and then we can take pictures. Hi, Molayo, are you ready for us to take some pictures?
Yes, I am.
Okay, awesome. So I think I will just promote two more persons and then we can quickly go ahead. So if you're on the panel session, please make sure you turn your video on so that we can take some pictures. All right, I think we have a good number of people here. If you're on the panel session, please kindly turn your video on. Let's take some pictures. Okay, so this is one of my favorite parts. We all get to unmute, and we usually say women in tech, but I mean, this is in commemoration of the International Women's Month. So I think we can say Happy International Women's Month. Yes, I think that can work. So are we all ready?
Yes.
Okay, over to you, Malayo. So in 3, 2, 1, we'll be unmuting and saying, Happy International Women's Month. Yes. So we'll be unmuting and saying Happy International Women's Month. Are we all good? All right, so 3, 2, 1. Happy International
Women's Day.
Awesome. Please let's take another one. So let's just take one other picture. Yes, and then this time maybe we should just go with our usual women in tech because we always say women in tech. So, 3, 2, 1. We say women in tech this time. So, 3, 2, 1. Everybody, women in tech.
Women in tech.
Awesome, awesome, amazing. Thank you all so very much for staying to this end. Thank you once again to all of our speakers. Thank you once again to Shanti, to Lola, to Zainab, to Philomena. Thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule to be able to speak to all the ladies on the call. I believe ladies on the call were able to get 1 or 2 things. Please be loud about it, be loud about your growth, be loud about this event, shout about it all over social media, tag us. And if you are yet to follow Tech for Them on social media, please make sure you do. You can follow Shanti, Lola, Zainab, and Philomena on LinkedIn as well, so that you can keep up with their progress and be able to use that as an inspiration for yourself. Thank you, ladies, once again. Do have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everybody. Goodbye. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye.